Peter J. Marzano.
My name is Nicholas Skibetta.
Private First Class Frederick Rondina.
Neil T. as a Thompson Lovelat.
My name is Cal Uretsky.
Spent 4 years in the Navy in the 40s.
Served in the military, I think it was around 3 years during World War II. 1944. You're 18 and the Army wants you, and you are going to be drafted. They tell you right up front, and you're going to go overseas, and whatever happens, happens there. Nobody had experience. Everybody was being drafted. So they picked us. They picked the twins. They were taking all kind of bets. Who's going to go to Europe? Who's going to go to the South Pacific? My older brother got wounded, and he ended up in a hospital. Later on, he left the hospital to see my brother and I leave. He was so mad that we were going in, and we had a chance of getting killed. And we had a kid brother who wasn't 18 yet. He had another year to go, and he eventually was drafted. And in other words, the four of us were in service. That's us. This was taken in Tokyo. That's me. We went to the South Pacific. It was tough there. It's amazing how much sea time I got. More than a Navy man I got. Into those little boats. Our job was strictly to kill the enemy. Let nobody kid you. Everybody thinks it's a picnic, but it's not. You're trained to kill.
My rank was specialist. The branch of service was the First Army. I got drafted October 10th, 1956. Had 2 MOSs, one radar and another as a clerk. Before I entered the service, I was interested in electronics, and I did very well with radar. It was very intense, because there was at that time, there was a war going to happen. We were all thinking about that too. We trained for that. It was a different life and very interesting. I learned a lot of different things. Well, at the age of 23, it was an honor, really, serving the United States.
Veterans Day is an important day for me because I'm here because of it. I was like an accident waiting to happen. And if it wasn't for the service, I think I probably would have got in trouble. I was drafted. I felt I had to go. And I also felt that the people that dodged the draft were not my friends. Most civilians don't know what it's like to be drafted and to be part of the U.S. military, and fight for your country. If war came, you would be there. You would be our defense, and there's no turning back. People respected you. It wasn't like it is today, where they have no respect for anybody, especially the military. I was a tank commander. I had a crew of 3 men. Tanks, oh yeah, you learn to live in it. You learn to live on wheels and be able to move at any given time. And I loved it. I really enjoyed doing my job.
I've served in the United States Navy in 1948 to 52. I served aboard a destroyer, a DD-866 USS Cone. I took care of all of the electronics, mainly the fire control, radar. I liked it very much. Oh, we had a good time. Great band of people, I'll tell you. You couldn't beat them. It was in the Mediterranean Sea. He came aboard the ship to visit Winston Churchill. I met him up in radar control where he visited the different areas. And I wanted so much to speak to him, and I didn't know how. And my birthday is November 30th, and his was November 30th. It's a good part of your life, good part of your training for life. I think it's too bad that every young boy doesn't go into the service. Thank you very much for letting me service.
I served in the U.S. Army, achieved the rank of sergeant. I was a supply sergeant from February of 1966 to February of 1968. I was drafted. I've always considered my time in the service as a learning experience, and that it was my honor and my duty to serve my country. I got hurt in training due to a training accident, and I got to spend 110 days in the hospital and wind up being disabled. The Army taught me a great deal. It taught me how to maneuver, how to do things, and how to survive and make sure I had a path that was best for me. And I found it to be one of the most rewarding life experiences I had.
I'm 90, and it was when I was 17, 18. Memory is not, as one would hope, stronger than it is. Hometown was Great Barrington, Massachusetts. And I was just a country boy. Had a lot to learn. My first area was in Pillsbury, Pensacola. And I have an opportunity to go to the West Coast, and I took it. I was young enough to love just being out there. I loved California, the beaches. I was young enough to meet some fine, nice ladies, none of which I was ready to marry. It was a good time in my life, and I got a lot of it, out of it, no question. You know, I grew up. I think that's the best way I would say. I really grew up